Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you are new to this channel, thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe. If you're a subscriber already, welcome back and thank you for stopping by. On this channel, I talk about crimes that have happened in Zimbabwe, outside Zimbabwe, and anywhere and everywhere where Africans are thriving. And everything that I talk about on this channel is already in the public domain. I do not make up these stories. I love telling stories, but I don't make them up. Done. All right, so in today's story, we are going to talk about 9 murders that were committed by Zimbabweans outside Zimbabwe that shook a lot of people, or that, yeah, let's just say 9 murders that shook people. And these were committed by Zimbabweans outside Zimbabwe. Cheers. Great flavor. So before we get all confused, I have a humidifier right here in front of me. Let me just twist my camera a bit. Okay, so I have this humidifier in front of me. I need it. It's got essential oils, and yeah, I need it. On number 1, we have Bezo Chawafambira, 36 years of age, in the year 2011. So in 2010, Bezo Chawafambira was living with his partner for 5 years, and this partner was called Becca. I don't know how to pronounce her first name. Her first name is spelled C-Z-A-R-I-N-A. I don't know if it's Sarine or Zarine or Sarina. I'm not sure how to pronounce that name, so I'm going to call her Becca from now on. So arguments arose between Becca and Chawafambira. The reason being that Chawafambira was saying that he could not do any house chores. It's an African-like. An African man does not do house chores. That is according to him. So they had a dispute over that, and they had a fight over that. The two actually had a baby that was just 6 months old. So in the middle of the argument, in the middle of the fight, it got physical, and it is said that Chawafambira strangled Becca using a strap from a napkin bag. And then he pushed her head into a bowl full of water that they were using to cool the baby's milk bottles. So eventually she died while they were doing all that, while he was strangling her. He strangled her to death. And then after that, he attempted to kill himself by taking an overdose of prescription pills. The pills did not kill him. However, they made him to sleep. So this happened on the 14th of June in 2010. On the 17th of June, Chawafambira walked into a police station and confessed that he killed his partner. The police took him to his house, where they found Becca's body in a sleeping bag under a quilt. But Chawafambira was arrested, and in March of 2011, Chawafambira was sentenced to life in prison, and with a minimum of 18 years. Now, I don't know what that means. I suppose it means after serving at least 18 years, he's probably due for parole. He will be able to apply for parole. That's what I think. So that's Bezo Chawafambira in London, 2010, that killed his partner in front of his 6-month-old baby. Number 2 is Gibson Mazikana. Now, if you go back to my channel, you'll see that I did a video about Gibson Mazikana, who killed his wife, Emily, in the year 2015, and he was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum of 27 years. Now, these guys had always been having problems, and the time that he actually murdered his wife, he was due to appear in court for a charge that he had picked up, that was assaulting a police officer who had come again because there was a domestic disturbance in their place of residence. So when the police came to attend to the disturbance, Gibson is said to have actually assaulted a police officer, and he was due to go to court on the day that he ended up murdering his wife. He stabbed her using a kitchen knife, and she died. Now, if you want to know more about the details of that particular case, there is a video on this channel about Gibson and the way he killed his wife and why he killed his wife, Monemo, in August of 2015. That is number 2. Let's go to number 3. So on number 3 is Jasper Jason Taruvinga Dube of Dublin, Ireland. He was dating a Malawian girl by the name of Mawere. So Mawere was 26 by that time, and she was a student in Dublin. So when they were dating, one day they had a problem, they had a dispute, and the next thing is that Mawere's body was found in a bag, in a traveling bag, dumped at some place in the bush. And when the police found that body, they actually suspected that Jasper had something to do with the death of Mawere. When he realized that he was the suspect, he took his own life. Jasper took his own life. Now, it's not even, there was no indication of foul play or anything in as far as Jasper's death is concerned. So they suspected that he realized that the net was closing in on him, and he decided to take his own life after killing a 26-year-old Malawian girl who was a student, who was also his girlfriend. Jasper Jason Taruvinga Dube, Dublin, Ireland. On number 4 is Andrew Chimboza, South Africa. Now, Andrew Chimboza, I actually did a video on him again. If you go back to some of my videos, to my earlier videos, you'll probably find a video on Andrew Chimboza. Andrew Chimboza was a Zimbabwean man who was actually then dubbed the Cannibal Killer. Why did he how did he get himself this name? He got himself this name because after killing his victim, he actually ripped out the victim's heart and used the fork and knife to eat it to prove that he was not gay. And his victim was a 62-year-old man. So they met at a lover's place. They both were dating the same woman, allegedly. And then when they got there, the 62-year-old man was already there, and when he got there, they had a dispute, and this man, the 62-year-old man, is said to have accused Andrew of being gay. So he killed him. He killed the 62-year-old Manona and ripped out his heart and used the fork and knife to eat it to prove that he was not gay. Does that prove that you're not gay? I do not know. Andrew Chimboza, Cape Town, South Africa. Andrew Chimboza was sentenced to 18 years in prison for that crime that he committed. And yeah, I want to believe he's still serving his time, he's still doing his time right now. On number 5, we have Patrick Chareka of Canada. Patrick Chareka was married to Otilia Chareka, who was a professor. Otilia was a professor. So they had a dispute in their home in Canada, and Patrick Chareka used a hammer to beat up his wife in front of some of their children. They had 4 children in total. So he actually did it in front of some of the children, at least 2 of them. It could be 2, it could be 3, it could be all of them. It is not known exactly how many children were in the room where he did this, but the rest of the children were actually in the house, right? They might not have been in the same room, but they were in the house. So Patrick, then there was a 911 call to the there was a 911 call that the police responded to because there was said to be a disturbance in that home. And when the police came, they found that Patrick had actually killed his wife using a hammer. No, that he hadn't killed her, but he had beaten his wife using a hammer. So they took the wife. The wife was taken to the hospital where she later died. So then Patrick had to be charged with second-degree murder, to which he pleaded guilty. Why? Because he said he didn't want any of his children to come into the courtroom and testify against him. So he said he would rather plead guilty than to have his children as witnesses. I guess he was just trying to spare them of more trauma. So yeah, he was sentenced to life in prison in Canada. And now guess what? 4 children, 4 minor children. Mother is dead. Father is in prison for life. Patrick Chereka, Canada. On number 6, we have Mutulisi Ndlovu, USA. So Mutulisi Ndlovu was staying with his girlfriend Mary Mshapaize, and in 2010 they had a dispute. In 2012 rather, they had a dispute over dishes, which earned him the title US Dirty Dishes Killer. So they had a dispute over doing dirty dishes, and Tulisi ended up killing his girlfriend Mary, and he tried to burn her body in a barrel at their home, but that was not successful. And obviously the neighbors raised an alarm that something was going on in that home, and yeah, the body was recovered. He was also arrested and he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. I'm not sure if they had children, I'm not sure if they were married or if they're just partners, but yeah, that's Mtulisi Ndlovu of USA. So on number 7, we have Dexter Landsberg of the United Kingdom, who killed his 31-year-old Madina Landsberg. I don't know if it's Landsberg or Landsberg. Okay, so anyway, Dexter killed his wife, and he was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Now, this is what was happening in their home. There were always disputes. There were always fights. The police were always being called to their house because there was a disturbance. At one point, Dexter had been cautioned for assaulting his wife, and at one stage he had been arrested for beating up his wife and for breaking her phone, and for breaking her phone, as well as for shouting at her and just common assault. Then he was out on bail, but then just weeks after he was out on bail, Madina was found beaten up to death in her own home in Hatfield, where she was staying with Dexter, and Dexter was arrested for that, and he was sentenced because he was found guilty of killing his own wife. 31-year-old Madina, and Dexter was 34 when this happened in 2012. That's Dexter Landsberg of the United Kingdom. On number 8, we have Josephat Mutekeza of the United Kingdom. He was arrested and charged with the murder of his wife, Miriam Nyazema. Now, I'm going to say this side note. Miriam Nyazema was actually my senior in high school. And yeah, it was really sad to know that that's how she passed. She was my senior in high school. But anyway, yeah, that's what happened. Josephat Mutekeza was actually charged with murder as well as illegal possession of firearm. I think this is the man who was the military man, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but that should be the military man. Yes, that was the military man. He was in the army of... he was in the Queen's Army. I think so. Yeah, but yeah, that's what happened. And he was charged, and he was obviously found guilty of murdering his wife or his partner. I'm not sure. Miriam Nyazema. That is a man by the name Josephat Mutekeza of UK. And lastly, on number 9, I have Tapiwa Douglas Furusa, commonly known in the social circles as T-Fuz. So he was arrested and charged, and his charge was, why he was arrested was because he was the main suspect in the murder of a Zimbabwean woman by the name Leanne Zanele Mahachi, who was stabbed to death in her Sheffield home. So yeah, it is said that the circumstances surrounding her death were not very clear, but yeah, Furusa was the one who was charged for that murder. Now, I didn't see if anything then happened, if he was found guilty or if he was sentenced or if he was discharged. But yeah, that's basically the 9th crime that I have, or the 9th murder that I have that was committed by a Zimbabwean outside Zimbabwe. So these are the 9 murders that were committed by Zimbabweans outside Zimbabwe that shook the world, or that at least that shook Zimbabweans. Yeah. So I have a question here. Why is it that it's now becoming very common for men outside Zimbabwe, especially in the Western countries, to murder their wives? What are the pressures that you guys are facing out there? What are the pressures that are leading you to be so short fused that you'd actually end up killing your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, the mother of your children? What are the pressures that you guys are facing? What is going on? And yeah, we have that man who was dubbed the dish cleaner killer. Now, I know that back home, men don't do dishes generally. It's considered to be a woman's job to do the dishes, to take care of the children, to clean up. But do we realize that when we go to these other countries, the culture is a bit different? And also because of the way we work, we need to make certain changes to our culture. Culture is something that is very diverse. Some culture is something that is continuously evolving. Why are we still hanging on to, I do not do dishes, I'm an African man, I do not do dishes, you need to serve me, you need to go on your knees when you serve me? Why are we still sticking to that? If you want that kind of life, if you want to stick to those culture values, why not go back home where your wife is staying at home full time and you are working an 8 to 4 job, and then you come back home and she's serving you on her knees? I don't know. It's just something that just got me thinking, like, I'm not saying that when we go to other countries, we should totally forget our culture. No, not at all. But I'm saying, how about we adjust? How about we make certain compromises to make our lives outside our country more comfortable? Because living your own home, living your own comfort is actually strenuous enough on its own. And then there's cultural differences where you are going. And then there's all these shifts that people are working. How about we meet halfway? How about we meet halfway and make sure that our lives stay as comfortable as possible while we still maintain our culture, and while we also adapt to this new environment and the new culture that we are exposed to? It's just my thinking. I don't know, guys, but yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna do another video on, again, why yeah, something to do with the crimes that people are committing outside Zimbabwe, because probably of social pressures, because probably of cultural shock, cultural differences. I will definitely do another video on that. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to share, don't forget to comment. I totally love to hear what you think about what I share with you here. I love to hear what you think about the stories that I talk about. And always remember, guys, stay away from crime, because if you do crime, you are most likely to do the time. Be blessed and goodbye.